Hello again. In a recent video I mentioned that this measurement is not nearly as important as this measurement. Now what I was getting at there was a concept here in Finland called Talon Sydän, which translates to the heart of the home, or home's heart. Now what I'm talking about is the way that Finnish houses traditionally are planned and built. Now, in case you didn't know, the conditions here in Finland can be quite harsh, and for me that means that it's worth looking at the strategies that were employed by the people who didn't freeze to death. The Talon Sydän, or home's heart, is one of those strategies, and I'm going to use my house here as an example. So that orange line around your screen, that represents the outside of the building, and that would be built with a normal linear trench type foundation. But in the middle of the building there'd also be a plinth style foundation block, and on top of that block will be built some supporting walls in the center of the building from natural stone or brick. So the main source of heat is of course the baking oven, and if you've seen my videos you'll know all about the baking oven. But next to the baking oven is a small cast iron wood stove. In addition, on the other side of that short dividing wall is the Pönttöuuni, or the Russian rocket, and again I've done a video about that. All the links will be in the description. Now the important thing to note here is that these main sources of heat are positioned in the center of the building. In addition to these main sources of heat, we've got a sauna stove and a wood-fired water heater. Now I'm not going to go into the sauna stove at the moment because it's a little bit of a complicated situation. This one I made myself. It's about 4 times bigger than it needs to be, and includes a secondary burn chamber and a secondary adjustable air intake, but that's the subject of another video. One small masonry heater upstairs, and then what you're seeing on the screen now, all put together, is the heart of the house. Okay, well what does that mean? Well, all our cooking is done on the wood stove, so that's on every day. Sauna goes on every weekend. Baking oven every now and again, and as the nights get cold, upstairs the little heater. And whenever we need a boost in temperature, then the Pönttöuuni, the Russian rocket, will get put on. You see, it took me a while to figure out why it was that it was easier to heat the house up towards the end of the winter than it was at the beginning. The baking oven, for example, now we're into February, and I'm only putting 1 box of firewood in there when I light it, instead of 2 as I was right at the beginning of the winter. It also took me a while after I moved here to notice that all the chimneys on all the houses are in the middle of the roofs. There are no chimneys here on the outside walls of buildings. It just does not exist here. Everything is built on this idea of the heart of the house, the Talon Sydän. So I've done lots of videos now on masonry ovens and masonry stoves, masonry heaters, and it's necessary when doing that to view each heater in itself as an individual item, but that kind of misses the point, because really if they're well put together and well planned into a system, then it is an ecosystem. And while each heater does its job for the day, heating the room or the floor of the house, what's much more important is the little contribution it makes every day to the Talon Sydän, to the heart of the house. So that's why I wanted to make this video, so that if anyone out there is thinking about building a house or is planning a house and thinking about incorporating masonry heaters as part of the heating into that house, then like I said at the beginning of this video, it's worth looking at harsh climates and looking at the strategies that were used by the people who didn't freeze to death.